Well, good evening. The Who's today in Sydney. We're back at Randwick at headquarters, 2 days running. Crowd today, very Kleiner, very Ocean. Hardly anybody there, and the backup these days seems to just kill the rank and file who want to come. Back at headquarters, as I say, but instead of racing on the course proper, we're on the number 2 track. That's the Kenzo track, and the rail was in the normal position. The track was good, but it wasn't too good on the inside. There were most probably 2 factors. The inside was completely chopped up, most probably from trials, even though the last set of trials there they raced off the fence. And the wind was out of the northeast, and it was hitting the leaders, although leaders did, there was at least one leader, just from memory very quickly, that won, and a couple others sat outside the lead, or one, the last winner sat outside the lead, but the near the fence was no good, and that was quite evident from the first race. The first race was won by Chiamonte. Well, I think I might have pointed out to you that it was on the inside at Hawkesbury last start, copying the worst section of the track, or was it at Gosford? One of the two, I forget now. And it was right on the inside of the fence, and it was in the worst section of the ground. I think I did point out that don't penalise it as much. And it got the chocolates today. It came from third last on the outside, given a good run by Josh Parr, and it was just a little bit too strong for coming off its back. The first starter, Rastro, Waller train, Bowman riding, and to beat it by 0.1 of a length. And as I say, the inside was no good. It was evident from the first race. It was very well backed. Hook Me Up, who had barrier 1. It had box 1, and it led on the fence, sitting on its outside Steel Tiger. The pair of them run last and second last, 7.7 and 8 lengths. And it was on the fence, Hook Me Up, never got off it, and was gone turning for home. That was good enough for the pros to say the inside was no good. And that was the pattern for the rest of the day. What we all Hooked Me Up, I said, was most probably the best back runner in the race. Opened up $5, got to 6, laid 5,000 at one stage, and laid something after that as well. Only started, I got it to $6. Only started $5, 4 to 1. The figures in the race on the screen: 111.4 in the marketplace, a skinny 101. Now, just very quickly, without driving everybody mad. Yesterday, well today, there were 8 rails bookies, and I was the only bookie in the outside ring. It was a little L-shaped ring, and yesterday we were behind the members stand in a marquee, in a big open marquee, facing 30 yards away was the entrance to the member stand, and yesterday we were up, as I might have told you, in the Ledger Reserve, in another marquee, and the rails bookies had agencies down in the marquee where we were to stay. Well, it should have been the other way around, because the rails bookie, we all should have been down in the marquee opposite the members yesterday, and in the agencies up serving the public, who just the big pub was up there. And of course, when they come to have a bet, everybody's got a drink in their hand, and the agencies could have looked after the punters up and the drinkers up the other end, and we could have been down there servicing the members. But we had that not work. I didn't, but the rails bookies had agencies down there, and I think it should have been reversed. It's surprising, like there today, you just wander over and have a look into the members, and they just don't know. It's not their fault, but something's got to be done. It's about time the bookies who had the agencies, it was like yesterday, the bookies who did have agencies in the marquee, their boards were and books were connected. We're 2 furlongs apart. We're 2 furlongs apart, a long way apart. But the boards, any bets that are written in the agency stands were transferred straight into the stands up where we were in the ledger. And of course, that should be the case at all meetings in Sydney. Whoever's the biggest, I've written about it before, whoever is the biggest holder on the fence, they should have an agency in the members instead of the captains who are in these agencies just betting the printer prices and offering under the odds all the time, whereas in the marketplace you can always beat what's on the screen. And the biggest bookies should have agencies wherever the agencies are now, or everybody rotates. But the system now, it seems very, very unfair to me. But I think I might be talking to deaf ears. Get to the second race here, and on the screen we're playing to a very, very empty house. I'll tell you about the fifth race here later on. You won't believe it. But today, in the second race, 104%. In the marketplace, just a little bit less. The favourite got beaten this race, King Cobia. Even though it got beat, run the race again, and I think it would most probably mightn't win by far. 4 horses crossed the line together, and there was only a half a length between the 4 of them. And the favourite, King Cobia, actually missed the kick from the outside alley, only 6 runners, and then Nash went forward. He didn't cross right to the rail, but he was fairly close to it coming to the turn, got off, and halfway up the straight he was always in a bit of trouble. He couldn't shake them off, and when they got down towards the line, it finished up to, being a dead heat between I suppose should have won the race was Hoybell, who had barrier 1 and had to come inside runners instead of getting to the outside. Not that he was close to the fence, but he had to switch. He tried to get to the outside at one stage, but had to switch back, and he dead heated with Petakaris. Now both of them were back. King Cobia went up $1.50. We said we'll have you 2 to 1. It wasn't laid on, but wound off, and it started at $1.55, and it led, as I say, inside it was Bune, a 40 to 1 chance. Outside it was Chow, and when they got down to the line, coming from behind those pair were the 2 dead heaters. Hoybell, as I say, happening to switch in behind runners, and bobbing on the line and dead heating with Petakaris, who Petakaris was extremely well back from $7 or maybe even $8. No, $7 was only given. $7 into $5.50, hard to get, and only dead heat. It was a dead heat by 0.2 of a length to the favourite running third, and a half a length, 0.5 a length to Chow in 4th position. So very little between the 4, and then 3.6 and 6.8 back to the other pair. The favourite, the track possibly could have beaten it, having to run into the wind slightly down the side, and it wouldn't be if we run the race again, it wouldn't be as short as it did start, $1.55. It'd be a lot longer, but it most probably would win. Race 3 on the screen, only 102.5, and in the marketplace a bit less, at 98% only, and we were playing to an empty house. Winning the race was Moriarty, resuming from a spell, had been gelded, which might have been the trick with this horse, and it was given the perfect run in the perfect part of the track by a clever Catwalk Corey, we call Catwalk Corey Brown, and he was able to get onto the back of the favourite Keith's Legacy, who unfortunately wanted to pull and run in and duck out on who rode it, on Jay Ford, trained by David Van Dyke, and Corey it was wide. It was all right getting cover, but not sitting out 3 wide on a limb like he was for a part of the race. And as I say, Corey got onto his back and it took him the entire straight to wear him down. We got him on the line and beat him by 0.1 of a length, and run the race again. And the favourite, who started 2 to 1, opened up 6 to 4, $2.50 Keith's Legacy, got out to 9 to 4, $3.20, back into $3. Run the race again. It would most probably start $3 favourite, 2 to 1 favourite, and this time I would say would most probably win. Leading on the fence on the inside and staying close to the fence was Conda Hustler, and that was against it. It was in the worst section of the ground. It got beat 7.1 lengths. Sitting on its outside was Glare, and it dropped back and it finished in front of the horse it sat on the outside of, but not only about a length in front of it. As I say, the winner was given a perfect run in exactly the right section of the track. The Great Snowman. It was extremely hard to lay, especially you didn't want to get involved in the race because the figures were so skinny. We were playing to an empty house, as I say. But it went up 2 to 1. It went up $3, and it drifted to $6.50. The Great Snowman. And it didn't more or less have a price. Mr. Bollinger was also hard to lay. Moriarty was very well backed. $8 given about Moriarty. He only started 6, and all of the other runners got out in the market, although I did lay them for something. Conda Hustler, I did lay at $11 one stage. I started 13 on my board. They took $101 off me Nantucket Bay, and also $11 Tiger Territory. But as I say, the top one, it was extremely hard to lay, and the winner was $8 into $6. A losing race for the captains. Race 4 on the screen, 110.6, but in the marketplace, a neat 100 less the Toyota Lexus. Everyone forgive the punters, haven't got any Toyota Lexus, only the captains. And this was a very strong win by Floor Show, ridden by Killer Kath O'Hara. She sat on the outside of the leader, Quizzed, who drew barrier 1. Quizzed stayed well off the fence coming to the turn. Floor Show on its outside. Kath would have been puffing on her powder puff or whatever the girls do. They don't smoke pipes. She just slid up the rise, still sitting on the outside of Quizzed. But when she strolled to the lead, they were in the middle of the track by this time when they topped the rise, in the middle of the track, and it just strolled away. It was a great position to be in. Not that it wouldn't have won if it would have had to come from behind and around them. It still would have won, and won by 2.8 lengths. And running second, which might have been a bad run, coming from third last on the inside of runners. But as I say, still well off the fence, was Dreamworker, and it was extremely hard to lay. It went from $4.40 to $8. There was a little bit of money for loaded. It went from $6 out to $7. The Firehouse was back late, as much as $9 given. Started $7, hard to get. Advertorial, I laid it well to lose 5,000 at one stage and a couple of thousand at another stage. It was $15 or $16 into $12. There was money for number 5, La Comedienne, $16 into 13. Lucky Sparkle, couldn't lay it. It was about $10, $11 out to 15. Floor Show, very well back. We put it up $4 favourite, got out to 5, only started $4.40, very hard to get, extremely well back. Money for Gazebo at one stage, or Quizzed I should say, took $8.50. Did draw box 1, which was going to be against it, started $7.50. There was money for Zamerit, $15 into 13. Above all, I did lay it at $17 late, had to go that price to lay it, but it was layable, and the figures were fairly skinny. But it was a losing race again for the captains. The Avery got the cash. In the 5th race, this is what I was going to say, on the screen, 105.2, but there was a lot less in the marketplace, 96. And I must admit, at one stage during the betting in this race, I took a short step off my stand, and I could see every board, and I had a funny feeling it was going to be skinny, but I was looking at the time at 99. You could have shopped and got 99 and that's backing every runner, of course. But if you wanted to leave out, take the chance and leave out a couple, I did have $151 on my board. Let's Bat, the bottom weight. Didn't strike it for one Oxford dollar on it. I had $51 on my board. Moderna, never struck it for a blow. Halfway to London, I had $17 up. Trojan Destiny, $14 at one stage. Blazing Dragon, $5, $5.50. Diamond Jim, I'm working up from the bottom as you can see. Scratch the next pair. Shawnee Girl, $7. And I don't know how it didn't fluck Thurbian, the winner, at $3.50. I did $3.60, but when the 99 was there, it was $3.50 staring me in the face on 3 or 4 boards. It went $3.60, it was back into $3.30 or 20 even at one stage. When I added up the 99 was staring me in the face, it was $3.50. It was back into a little while after that, back into $3.30. It got back up to $3.60, taken towards the end of betting. And going straight to the front was the designated leader, Trojan Destiny, and well, the wind was against it, and it's not too strong anyway, and it dropped off. Given the perfect run on the back of Blazing Dragon was the winner, Thurbian. When they got to about the 800 metre mark, its stablemate Shawnee Girl was behind it, and the pumper said, well, it's time for me to go. He pulled out and actually got about 3/4 of a length, maybe a length in front of the winner Thurbian, the stablemate out wide. But unfortunately, old Shawnee Girl, she couldn't go on with it, and coming to the turn, it was starting to feel the pinch. The leaders were coming back, and Huey got inside it again, and he the horse that he was on the back of, Blazing Dragon, he moved up to it. It had got to the lead, and he was able to get past it and beat it by 0.8 of a length. And the third horse was Halfway to London, who was sitting second, chasing the lead of Trojan Destiny. It only got beat 1.6 lengths. It's very one-paced. It'll go all day, and it had every possible chance. By the time they got to the turn, they were well off the fence. The winner was very well ridden. Race 6, we come to a race where there was 103.7 on the screen, but in the marketplace only a skinny 96%. And this winner led all the way. The wind was still not stiff by any means, but it was still enough to have a bit of an effect on you. But as I say, it went straight to the front after travelling a little while. It led early more than Royal, who we all thought would lead. But this Jablitz, which had every possible chance last start at Wyong when it ran along the fence, it went around more than Royal after travelling a couple of furlongs and found the lead, but was always 3 off the fence, ridden by terrific Tommy Berry. And coming to the turn, he was still only 3, maybe 4 maximum off the fence, holding that position, and they were starting to loom, and you could see the horses who, especially Coins, who drew the outside alley. There were 9 runners, and he drew barrier 9. It sat outside in last position. Sense of Pride was on the fence running last, and he was on his outside. And as I say, when they topped the rise, you could see the horses who were back in the field starting to make their runs very wide on the track. But it kept on kicking on the inside, Jablitz, and when he turned for home, as I say, was maybe 3 or 4 off the fence, but kept on gradually getting out without causing any interference to any runners, and didn't finish, say, in the middle of the track, but he was still a good few horses off the fence, and fought on very strongly to win by 0.8 of a length from coming right down the outside from last, Coins, and running third, who was midfield, one off the fence, was the favourite. Well, no, it didn't start favourite. Zaba Float. It ran third, beaten 0.9 of a length. The fluctuations in the races, a bit of money from about Glory at one stage, opened up a dozen, about 12 to 1, got to 15, was back into 12, but got out to 15 again. Never had a name, Sense of Pride. It was $12. It's a big query runner coming from overseas. out to $19. Now the next runner, Zaba Float, it was very hard to lay, went from $2.80 out to $4.20 given. So I said 96. I forgot there was $4.20 given Zaba Float. So actually, you would have shot, you could have got another couple off that, so maybe only 94% given. But it did start, it was taken to 420, and it did start $4. Very hard to lay. More Than Royal, it went from 15 out to 21. We get down to Bikini Star. I think I laid 4,000 to 100 at one stage. Started that price 16 out to, I might have laid 5,100. So there's another 0.5% off. And it started 40s. Giblets was backed earlier on, $8.50 into $7.50. You couldn't even get the 8, but it got and only started that price, about a 13 to 2 chance. The next runner was Scratch. Coins, it was well back. I think there might have been $8 given. I'm not sure about that, but at least 7 was. Only started about $6, maybe $5.50. The next runner started favourite, Acton. It went up second pick at $3.50, $3.70, and it got out to $4.60 given for a good bit of section. $4.60, $4.40, $4.20. It did only start about a $3.40 chance, a tick under the 5 to 2 mark. Extremely well back, and it had its chance. It sat back, tailing Zaba Float in third last position, and Coins behind it. Never got beat that far. The last 3 runners were 5.3, 6.5, and 6.7. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 6 runners across the line, there was only 2.3 lengths between them. So the winner, when he did get the lead, didn't go fast by any means, but to hold his position and especially leading was a fairly good effort. It improved a lot from its run at Wild. And we come to the last, and on the screen only 103.7. In the marketplace, unfortunately, I counted 94, but it was the best betting heat of the day, for me at least. Laid some good wagers in this race. There were some two really good firmers. The biggest firmer, of course, was Saint La Bomba. It started second favourite, went up $6, quickly got to 7. It did start only $4.40, hard to get. I laid some good bets against it. I think at one stage I might have laid 5,000. No, I didn't lay. I laid 4,000 or 1,000, and I think I might have laid to lose 2,000 at $6.50, or might have even been the $7. But then they took $4.60 off me for a good bit of section, and 4.40 at one stage. It was into 4.20, but got out to 4.40 late in betting. All right already. It started $41, but did manage to lay 4,100. The next runner was well backed, Damo. Could have laid, I think might have laid 3,600 to 400 and to lose 5,000 at $10 at one stage as well. And it did start $11 on my board. The Anatomic, it started favourite, went up $4, quickly got to 460. It was liable at one stage at that price for a good bit of section as well. Then it got to 5. Might have laid another 4,000 or 1,000, plus a few other bets. I laid it at $4.40, 4.60, and then 4.40, and they took $4.20 off you at the finish. It started $4 favourite. You had to go to $16 to lay Liechtenstein, which was labelled that price. Perfect. Managed to lay 5,100. Started 40s. Watertight, got something out at 100 to 1. The next runner, Asclepios. It was labelled at one stage at $9.50, but it did start $9.50, and it ran second, given a good run, and always had a good chance from the way it was drawn. Our Hand of Fate, the winner, paid, I won't say it would have paid on that filthy giddy goat, but it was well backed in the ring. They took $16, $15 for a good bit of section at one stage, and only started and was into 13. But it got back out to $14 at the death. The next runner was fairly hard to lay. Our Smokin' Rock, the Anthony Friedman trade runner from Melbourne, ridden by Bowman. It went up safely at $5.50, did start $9 on my board. I got very little section out of it. It was labelled at $26 ransom gaze. Might have laid 5,200, $26. Laid 6,100 the next runner. Manhattan Elite started 40 to 1. It was labelled sovereign debt. They took $19, started 16 hard to get, and might have fluked getting a box of matches out of Paramount Pete at $201. No good, only about 94. If you happen to catch them right, it was a little bit better than that. But the trick was catching them right, which is a hard trick to do sometimes. Now in the race, the way it was run, Saint La Bomba went straight to the lead, and coming across and sitting on its outside was Our Hand of Faith, and Our Hand of Faith got past it turning for home, and they were well out in the middle of the track, and it got clear after topping the rise. What I keep on saying, topping the rise, there's no rise on the Kensington track. Well, there is a slight rise, but nowhere as big a rise as there is on the course proper. So I'm forgetting that. But it got clear after swinging for home, and might have got at least 2.5 lengths clear, at least 2 lengths clear, and held off the horse from down the Canberra way, as Clipperless. It 2, 4, 5, 6. It sat in about 7th position, well off the fence, getting a really good run, and was eased off, well, just eased off heels turning for home, and it was the one runner coming down the outside, and after they were halfway up the straight, it was the obvious only danger to the winner if it could run it down, but it failed by 0.2 of a length. Holding on for third after sitting in 5th position was Damo, and sitting in the 1-1 position and running 4th was Liechtenstein, who was very limited. The margins were, as I say, were 0.2, and it was 2 lengths away to the third horse. That's about all I'd say. When you do your form, it's a bit hard because after the first race, they never went really close to the fence. There's a bit of an art in when doing the form out of these meetings. You've got to ad lib a bit when you how you price their chances for next run. Everybody has their opinion. I hope your opinion when you do the form turns out to be right, and you back plenty of winners. I'll talk to you during the week. Good evening.